And for more on the smaller businesses in the Asia-Pacific region, I'm joined from Honolulu by Charles Morrison. He is the president of the East-West Center. Charles, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Michelle.
So, Charles, we're seeing that the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit is calling on large corporations to directly include SMEs, small and medium enterprises, to help them move up and grow. Now, APEC is really pushing for a greater role for SMEs in the global production and distribution systems of multinationals. Charles, what does this actually mean? How can this actually be executed?
Yeah, well, you know, as your correspondent said, SMEs provide about 97% of the businesses in the region, but they only directly account for about 35% of the exports. And so the way most SMEs relate to exports and to the world markets is through their participation in regional or global value chains. And so large corporations depend on the SMEs to provide parts and components that then go into final products.
So what can we expect from the summit to thereby facilitate the role of SMEs? What kind of regulations or what kind of proposals?
Yeah, APEC has been working on this actually for about 20 years, and it's always a moving target because SMEs are small, medium-sized enterprises simply by the nature of their business. What you're trying to do is to help those SMEs with real capabilities, such as AirAsia once was, to grow. And to do that, they need networks, they need skills, they need access to finance. And so I think and they need a legal structure and a regulatory structure that facilitates their growth. So I think that's what APEC tries to do, is to provide the environment in which capable SMEs can flourish.
But Charles, at the end of the day, doesn't it all boil down to entrepreneurship? And how can governments encourage or facilitate entrepreneurship?
Yes, it does boil down to entrepreneurship, and probably the most important thing for governments to do is through the education sector. First, a very good basic education for as much of the population as possible. That's the key to inclusive growth. And secondly, education that focuses on innovation and on entrepreneurship. But I guess, in addition, government needs to be careful that it doesn't overregulate so that the economy becomes stultified and SMEs are not allowed to grow.
Well, the summit is being held in Manila in the Philippines, and according to the Philippine Daily Inquirer, SMEs are actually on the decline in the Philippines. Small firms, apparently, according to them, make up just 7.6% of all businesses. Medium ones, even less, just 0.4%. Do you agree with those statistics? And does it make sense to you that this is the case?
Well, I don't understand those statistics. As a number of overall firms, SMEs, of course, are the vast number, 97% of firms, as your correspondent said, as a proportion of employment. And I think the Philippines might even be higher. It would be at least 50% of employment. So SMEs is a backbone of most economies, and particularly, I think, economies like the Philippines. And there are many kinds of SMEs. There are mom and pop stores, sorry stores, and so forth in the Philippines. But then you have small companies that are manufacturing components as part of a production network. And I think that's what you're trying to focus on, that part of the economy. So I haven't seen the article in the Inquirer. I can't comment on that.
Well, on the other hand of things, you've got President Aquino, and he's saying that SMEs are often better poised to understand new customer expectations and to really create transformational business models. Yeah. Why do you think this is the case?
Well, SMEs, by their very nature, are going to be close to the consumer. And I think the successful SMEs and AirAsia, Alibaba, all of the big name firms that you can mention today were once SMEs. And they understood the markets, they understood the customers, and they were had the entrepreneurial spirit and the capabilities and the access to finance that was needed to expand.
Okay, well, let's see what results this APEC summit leads to for the small and medium enterprises. We're going to have to thank you. Leave it there. Charles Morrison, president of the East-West Center.